made some very fundamental changes.
The reality is it's way beyond a culture and an attitude. You do need some really hard-working, really practical solutions.
We want to, create diversity by creating opportunities.
We are simply not looking at the CV. This year is the first year that we are launching our Pioneers programme to recruit our entry-level applicants. Typically, what one tends to do, faced with a very large number of applications and little to differentiate them, is we revert to the CV, and we tend to be drawn to people who've been to universities that we know are good or have had work experience at agencies that we know. And that unconscious bias kicks in and you end up with a cohort of applicants for interview which are very homogenous. So to make sure that that unconscious bias doesn't kick in, we are simply not looking at the CV or having any of that other information about the candidates. So it's a much more level playing field. The J. Walter Thompson Pioneers programme is really an evolution from our very famous graduate recruitment programme, but we have made some very fundamental changes. What we wanted to do was to really increase the diversity of our intake and make sure we weren't missing talented people just because they weren't graduates. Firstly, we've stepped outside of the standard milk round timing. So that means we're attracting people who have already graduated, who maybe already be in the workplace or have chosen not to go to university. The second thing that we have done is to completely change the application process. So for the crucial first stage of screening, from the 500, 600, 700 applicants that we get through to the 100 that will be interviewed, we will only look at answers to 5 standard questions. We don't know anything about their name, age, sex, their background, their education. We only look at the answers to these 5 questions, which are actually based around the agency's core values. We've decided to make this fairly significant change because we believe and know that diversity of talent leads to diversity of ideas. And never more have we needed diversity of talent.
Taking CVs off our entry-level applications was just a starter for 10. The more you look at all the different barriers and all the hundreds of reasons why brilliant people aren't attracted and retained by our industry, you've just got to take them out one by one. So we've got a programme in place now which is literally attacking each of those barriers, breaking them down and moving forward. So elitism around universities was a reason for us to get rid of starting with CVs and education. We're now looking at awareness. It must be really hard as a 15-year-old about to choose your options. What you're going to do next if you don't even know advertising exists, or all the nuanced and crazy jobs that sit within it. So as an agency, one of our big commitments this year is that we're going to visit 100 schools in 100 days to make sure that's 100 more schools that are going to understand more about our advertising industry. So at Grey London, there are various ways of getting a job with us. There's the annual opportunity, when between 4 and 6 people go through a relatively grueling process. And usually over 1,000 applications, then we get it down to 50, and then we get it down to 4 or 6 offers. Then we have our monthly internship, and that's a rolling programme, so we have at least 2 interns a month apply through the websites. They have a mini interview, and if they get lucky, they get an internship out of it. And then there's our apprenticeship programme, which is our newest layer, and that's working with some brilliant organisations who help us find the apprentices. They come in for a day, they do maths and English, and then they get to do some group exercises, and they have, again, some fairly grueling interviews, and then they get an opportunity to come and work with us for a year. And we're so excited because we've already converted the first apprentice to full-time employment.
The scheme that we have got here at Ogilvy and Mather, which is in its inaugural year, is called The Pipe. Really what we wanted to do was create a pipe for new talent to come into Ogilvy. What's made creative departments brilliant in the past is the sheer diversity of talent that you find in creative industries.
I think as part of our deliberately diverse kind of application process, initially kind of sending in a piece that demonstrated their creativity, but for phase 2, in order to whittle down the 700 odd applicants that we had, we got them to respond to a brief over Instagram, and those responses were then scored by the entire agency.
Over the next 6 months, they'll work on briefs from across the entire Ogilvy group. They'll sort of sit and work as a self-sufficient unit. They'll get 3 types of briefs primarily. One we call Glory, which are big fame-based conceptual briefs. Then they get graft briefs, which are designed to help them hone their craft. And then we've got briefs we call Grenades, which are a sort of 9 a.m. news team assemble. You've got 10 hours to produce a huge amount of ideas and then present back that day.
They've already kind of broken down all their different skill sets and then kind of gone, this is we can use all of our skill sets together and come together and make something better, rather than saying, well, you can't do that, so you're not involved. It's kind of cool.
So I graduated in Bristol studying civil engineering, and then after I went into filmmaking, and now I'm looking into a career in advertising because I feel like it combines everything that I've done. So I started researching how to get in. Apparently you need a portfolio and you need to be in a team for some, and I was like, I don't know anyone in this industry. And then I stumbled upon this opportunity where they're looking for people, outside of advertising, and they're embracing that creativity can be, not just within advertising. And that was that was something I definitely just jumped on.
I found out about this scheme through the Princess Trust. So beforehand I did an app design course with them, and I was fortunate enough that the week after they had a Get Hired Day, and on that day is when I was introduced to Ogilvy as a company, and I sort of discovered that they created one of my favourite adverts, which is the Philips Breathless Choir. I felt like I just wanted to be within a company that did that, and I wanted to create that for other people as well.
I think I'm just excited to be in this environment where I don't know much at all. I'm willing to kind of give this my all, willing to learn as much as I can. And it's really nice to be in an environment where everyone in the building is kind of all for us, all behind us, wants us to succeed, wants us to mess up, and wants us to learn from that.
One of our latest projects is with the Financial Times and Google. It's called Hidden Cities Rio. And we've